All right, I'm back. Okay, here's step 2 of your project. You've selected a poet after careful research, and you've selected 3 of his or her works. Now I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing with scanning the poems. You've practiced this a little bit. Now we're actually going to apply this to your 3 poems and really dig deep and do a really good text analysis, okay? So on the left here, you'll see a student example of the poem by Maya Angelou, A Woman's Work, okay? Here's the poem in the red. I've got the children to tend, the clothes to mend, the floor to mop, the food to shop, the chicken to fry, the baby to dry. I got company to feed, the garden to weed. I've got shirts to press, the tots to dress. You're getting the idea. So the poem is in red. And as you can see, in green neon here, she has used Microsoft Word to show me all the rhyme. So tend, mend, mop, shop, fry, dry, feed, weed, press, dress, cut, hut, sick, pick. I get that. In addition, the student gave me the rhyme scheme of the poem, A, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, G, J. Excellent. She highlighted then the tots too, all right, because those are examples of alliteration. Repeating the sound T, okay? Fall softly dewdrops and cool my brow. Again, rain, again, the rhyme scheme. And she goes through the poem, and you could pretty much tell just by the color coding what she's pointing out. But the student even digs a little bit deeper, and in the boxes next to each stanza, she explains the meaning of the stanzas. So for example, in stanza 1, in this stanza, the character, which I can tell is a housewife, has a lot of work to do. There's also the rhyme scheme, and she points that out in this stanza, and the words are tend, mend, mop, shop, fry, dry, feed, weed, press, dress, cut, hut, and sick pick. There is an example of alliteration in the 5th and 10th line. The mood of this stanza would be tired. Good. Stanza 2 says, shine on me sunshine, rain on me rain, fall softly dewdrops and cool my brow again. Stanza 2. In this stanza, the character is telling the sun to shine on her and the rain to fall softly on her so she can be cooled and comforted. There's an example of tactile imagery in lines 3 and 4. The rhyme scheme of the stanza would be H-I-J-I, and there's forced rhyme for the words rain and again. These models are up for you. If you need more, just let me know. But this is exactly what I want you to do when scanning a piece. This is one poem that she did, and she continues with her second and third in the same manner, highlighting any literary devices she sees, then explaining each stanza and what is in each stanza to the side of it. Now, say that's not quite for you. If you don't feel like that's quite for you, here's another example of another student. Student has the poem on the left, and it's not generally color-coded. It's by E. E. Cummings, called Your Little Voice. She talks about the rhythm. She has, now E. E. Cummings writes in a very fragmented ways. He's not very structured. If you pick E. E. Cummings, you'll see that, which is one of his wonderful techniques. It makes him such a good poet. So a little harder to read, but I know E. E. Cummings, so I kind of get where she's coming from. But she does say personification, a voice cannot leap. Line 3, and I felt suddenly dizzy. That's tactile imagery. With jostling and shouting of merry flowers, flowers cannot jostle or shout. High-heeled flames, alliteration, high and heeled. So I'm not expecting you to find everything as 7th graders and 8th graders, but I am expecting you to do a poem justice and to kind of tell me what the meaning of it is. You can see she has notes. She's made some comments here, okay? And in addition to that, the meaning of the poem she's highlighted below. The love for the girl, how they spend such a great time together, describing how he was head over heels for this girl, then to find out that she had passed away. The mood is love. All right, so there's an example of that as well. A third example for you would be this person's setup, which is on the left, she has her stanzas in blocks. And I know some of this is cut off just by the way there we go, try that. Stanzas in blocks, and on the right, she explains each stanza. So you can do it that way as well with your color coding. All of this is done in Microsoft Word. If you have highlighting tools, if I can lift this, you have highlighting tools up here at the top. You can certainly highlight things and color code them to your liking. And if you want to insert text boxes, you would just go to Insert Text Box. If I click Insert up here, it'll give me that option, and then I can click Text Box. And that is how you could insert a text box into a field in Microsoft Word in a blank document. Questions, let me know. Come to class, and if there's anything I can help you with outside of class, just let me know. But this is what I want you to do with the 3 poems. You're going to scan each poem. This is called scanning each poem, and do this for each of your poems so that you are a master of each of those poems. So make sure you've selected poems that you understand, that you can dig deeper in, and that kind of have great examples of literary devices that you can use to show me your knowledge. All right? Take care, guys.